Air India. You know, for decades, it was the airline of India. But somewhere along the way, it kind of lost its magic, becoming a symbol of inconsistency. And then, in 2022, the Tata Group stepped in. And suddenly, everything started to change. So let's dive into the playbook that's breathing new life into the Maharaja and see what it really takes to turn a legendary airline around.
It all kicked off with some seriously bold moves, like this ad campaign. Now, this was a direct shot at their rival Indigo, whose staff had been in the news for, let's just say, some not-so-friendly encounters. This was a signal, a really clear one. Air India was done playing nice. It was ready to fight back, not just on price, but with a promise of respectful, world-class hospitality.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How on earth did they do it? How did an airline that was, frankly, plagued with problems rediscover its confidence and start winning back the hearts, minds, and wallets of travelers? Well, let's break it all down.
Okay, so to really appreciate the comeback, you first have to understand just how dire the situation was. The Maharaja's reign, well, it was fading, and the airline was flying straight into a perfect storm of challenges.
And this right here, this chart tells the whole story. In a market it once practically owned, Air India was getting squeezed from every direction. You had low-cost carriers like Indigo absolutely dominating domestic flights, while giants like Emirates were scooping up international passengers. Air India was left with a smaller and smaller piece of the pie.
And the reason why was pretty simple, really. The product was struggling. The airline got a reputation for being inconsistent. You never knew what you were going to get. And its marketing, it just didn't give you a compelling reason to choose Air India over a cheaper, more on-time competitor. It had lost what made it special.
But then, the turning point. In 2022, the Tata Group, the airline's original founders, brought it back home. And they didn't just show up with a fresh coat of paint. No, they came with a massive, top-to-bottom plan to completely overhaul the airline.
They call the plan Vihan AI. And this isn't some vague corporate promise. It is a concrete 5-year roadmap. And it's built on 3 really solid pillars. Totally modernizing the fleet, completely revamping customer service, and getting aggressive about expanding its routes all over the globe.
And this timeline, wow, it just shows you the sheer scale of what they're doing. This is no quick fix. By 2025, more than 110 of their narrow-body jets, the workhorses for shorter domestic routes, will be completely redone inside. And by 2027, the entire long-haul wide-body fleet, the big birds for international flights, will feel brand new. We are talking a massive, multi-year undertaking.
Even the branding got a total rethink to reflect this new chapter. They swapped out the old Swan logo for this new one called the Vista, and the message is so clear. The old logo just represented flight. The Vista, with this golden window frame, is all about looking forward to new places, new planes, and a whole new standard of flying.
All right, so with a new vision and a new identity, Air India needed a whole new arsenal, a totally rebuilt marketing playbook. So how exactly are they competing now?
This is the really smart part. Instead of getting into a price war and racing to the bottom, they made a strategic pivot. While their competitors are screaming about low fares and punctuality, Air India is carving out a premium space. They're betting that people will pay a little more for better food, more comfort, and that unique, warm Indian hospitality. It's the difference between getting a hot meal and having to pay extra for a bag of chips.
And that upgraded experience, it's for the whole plane. This isn't just about making first class fancier. Even if you're flying economy, they're competing on value. They're offering over 3,800 hours of entertainment. That's a huge step up from the no-frills guys.
The goal here is to fix every single frustrating little thing about flying. Their booking app, cleaner, faster. Boarding, way more organized. On the plane, the food's better, the movies are better, and maybe most importantly, if something goes wrong, the post-flight support team is actually set up to, help you. They've rethought every single step of the journey.
So what about the iconic Maharaja? Is he gone? Not at all. He's just evolved. He's now the face of this new promise of unbeatable service. It's a really clever way to blend the airline's amazing heritage with its ambitious future, showing off the best of modern Indian hospitality. So, we've seen the plan, the investment, the rebranding, the focus on the customer. But here's the billion-dollar question. Is any of this actually working? Let's look at the numbers.
First off, this isn't just talk. We're talking about a $400 million commitment. That's just for retrofitting the existing planes. This is not some fluffy marketing campaign. It's backed by serious cash to fundamentally change the flying experience.
And here is the proof.
The Net Promoter Score, which is basically a fancy way of measuring if your customers love you or hate you, tells an incredible story. In December 2023, it was a dismal -19. That means way more people were detractors. Fast forward to March 2024, and it skyrocketed to a +25. That is a seismic shift in how people feel about the airline in less than 2 years.
And guess what happens when customers are happier? They spend more money. The airline saw a 25% jump in revenue in fiscal year 24. It's not just goodwill, it's good business.
And maybe the most important number for the airline's future, financial losses were cut in half in that same year. So they're not just growing, they're becoming a much healthier, more sustainable business. The strategy is paying off, literally. Now, it's really easy to get swept up in this amazing comeback story. But let's be real, the journey is far from over. There's still some serious turbulence on the horizon that they have to navigate.
Air India still has some major headwinds. They've got to manage PR crises better, they need to up their social media game, and they have to constantly fight off those super aggressive low-cost carriers. But honestly, the biggest challenge is internal. It's consistency. It's one thing to have a great flight, but it's another to make sure every single flight, every single day, meets that new high standard.
Which leaves us with this final thought. The turnaround has been nothing short of remarkable, a true case study in how to transform a company. But the mission is not complete. The big question remains, can the Maharaja build on this incredible momentum and truly reclaim his throne in the sky? Only time will tell.